Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's coverage live from Beaver Creek 2024. I'm excited today to be joined by Dustin Perry, CEO, founder and director of Kingfisher Metals. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. How's the conference treating you so far?
It's good. It's a busy year and challenging getting used to the elevation, but beautiful weather and good to see everybody after a summer away from marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a buzz about the conference this year. I want to get right into it. Let's talk about the origin story of Kingfisher. What led you to found the company, and maybe what's some of your background in mining?
Yeah, so I'm a geologist. I graduated from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver.
Okay.
Where I grew up about a 5-minute bike ride from there.
Okay, wow.
And always wanted to be in the bush, and took me a while to figure out that geology was the route. And I worked pretty much exclusively in BC, a little bit in Mexico, a little bit in the Yukon. Worked on over 50 projects before starting this company. Worked for a variety of juniors, mid-tier, and then started a consultancy. And did that for about 5 years. And I figured it wasn't, it was profitable, but it wasn't really the route I wanted to take. And I really wanted to be in charge of the direction of a company. And I've got a lot of energy, and I'll allow that to be, my energy to be the limitation on the company. And luckily I had a lot of good contacts in the industry, good technical people, but also had a pretty good in to the financial side of things from coming as a field geologist.
Got it.
And was able to assemble a good team and get us off the ground. And we operated as a private company for a couple of years. Then we focused on early stage exploration on a gold asset in southern British Columbia. Did 2 drill programs there, had pretty good initial results, but they weren't apt to really meet the market's expectations. And we had a pretty big sell-off. That was challenging as a first-time CEO dealing with that.
Yeah, of course.
But given the state of the market, there's pros and cons to being in a bad market. It allowed us to tie up a really large land position in the Golden Triangle, which we progressively added on. And now we're one of the largest junior land holdings in the Golden Triangle at 630 square kilometers contiguous ground. And fortunately, we're located right next to the highway, which is why our flagship asset is called Highway 37.
Got it. Okay. Well, I guess, in addition to the experience that you bring as a geologist and with a background in the industry, can you tell us a bit more about who else is on the team at Kingfisher?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Vice President of Exploration, Gail Febo, she worked with me for, I believe, 3 or 4 years at my consultancy prior to doing this. And when I told her I wanted to go build a company, she was part of that idea. So she came in, she's got a wealth of experience. She did her master's degree at the Mineral Deposit Research Unit at UBC on the KSM deposit, which is, I think, the largest undeveloped gold deposit in the world, and 3rd largest undeveloped copper deposit in the world. Seabridge is, they're probably close to a $2 billion valuation now. And so she gained a lot of experience there. She also worked on the Bruce Jack discovery next door to that. She also worked for Teck at Galore Creek. In her work experience, she got to know Charlie Gregg quite well, who's a pretty famous explorer in BC. He's currently, he just joined the Hercules team down in Idaho. He's involved with American Eagle.
Yeah.
He was responsible for the discovery at GT Gold's Saddle Project. So he's got a wealth of experience. He worked for the Geological Survey of Canada, mapping the Golden Triangle for about 30 years. So between those two, we already had an excellent technical team, but we just actually announced today the addition of a new technical advisor, a woman by the name of Stephanie Sikora, or Dr. Stephanie Sikora. She did her PhD at COATS, which is the Ore Research Center at University of Tasmania. That, along with the MDRU, UBC, are really 2 of the top, say, 3 to 5 economic geology institutes in the world. So she did it on the massive Lahira project, which Newmont now owns. But she also worked for Teck in porphyry exploration in BC, Island Valley, and other areas, and also worked in First Quantum's global porphyry group, which looked across the world evaluating all kinds of projects and drumming up exploration ideas. And she's really an expert in these and is a very hungry geologist, which really fits with our team kind of energy. We're really driven to make a discovery, and having her on site for the last 2 summers, she got to see a lot more of the project this year.
Yeah.
did a lot of excellent work for us and liked it so much that she wanted to join the team as a tech advisor, and I was thrilled to have her. So right now, I would say we've got a very enviable team for the Golden Triangle in terms of experience, but also in terms of energy.
Yeah, certainly a lot of technical expertise, but it's funny, people often overlook, I think, that drive and that desire to keep things moving forward.
Well, just to touch on, that's one part of, there's three big components to any company: the project, the people, but then also the access to capital.
Yeah.
And, we've got a huge land position in one of the most prolific porphyry copper gold areas in North America. We've got this technical team, but we also have a really high level of institutional ownership with many institutions backing us and ultra high net worth people. So we have been able to raise money and do.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in a pretty good position with all this in mind.
And how are you able to get those shareholders on board? Was that through relationships, through your industry experience, or that was just going out there and pitching the Kingfisher story?
A little bit of both. Some of the people who helped didn't officially found the company, but early shareholders have made a lot of introductions, and so the backers of our backers, they trust us. They trust the fact that we're doing things in the right exploration process. We're not racing into things.
Yeah,
we're also not afraid to kill a project and move on, like we did recently. And we're an honest group, and we're hardworking, and we're really motivated to make a discovery. So people can see that, and that's why they've invested in us.
Yeah, fantastic. So you spoke with CEO.CA 2 months ago. You had just closed on the LGM project. Can you give us a sense of, has any work been done there, or what can people expect over the coming months?
So LGM is a new package that we own 100% of. So HWY 37 to the north of the LGM includes the Ball Creek East claims and the Hank claims, which were optioned 4-year option agreement with Origin Royalties and Golden Ridge Resources. Those are really our focus. LGM, we were able for $1 million, approximate 3 million shares, approximately $1 million, or now it's about 600,000, I guess, and 75 grand cash. We were able to tie that up, and there's one really interesting target on that, but then a lot of the ground is just really underexplored.
Yeah.
So the focus for this year, with a limited budget and a limited amount of time, was to go out and really refine our drill targets for next year.
Okay.
One of those is the Grizzly Porphyry Center on the LGM project. We only spent a day there this year, but learned a lot out of it. And actually, the BC Geological survey was on site with us for a full week doing free work.
Okay.
And they spent a day there as well. That area does have very good surface results, 38 meters of 0.78% copper and 1.1 grams gold.
Yeah.
And looks very similar to Glory Creek, where we've got a lot of experience with our BPX scale Febo having worked there. So that was one part of our focus, but really the heart of focus was on the more advanced targets on the HWY 37 project, where we did a fair bit of IP. We ran 4 IP lines. One of them covers the Hank and Williams epithermal and porphyry deposits and stretches 3 kilometers past any known drilling. And the goal with that is to look deep. We're still waiting results, and we'll get those out as soon as possible. But I think what you could compare that target to would be similar to what Hercules has done, drilling underneath or adjacent to an epithermal deposit undercover, and making a nice porphyry discovery. That's what we're going for there. And then we did similar work on a bunch of other targets on the project. A lot of mapping as well, rock sampling, spectral geology. So a lot of work like that. We did have a ZTEM survey planned, and we paid a deposit back in May. We were expecting that to start in late June, but they've had equipment issues. The operator, which is a very big operator, equipment issues and delays due to weather and other projects, which has delayed our program, and it's anticipated to start this week.
Okay.
So, a little disappointed that we don't have that information now.
Yeah, frustrating, but maybe out of your hands. You mentioned some of the other work that you've been doing over the course of the summer. Do you have a sense of when we can expect to start to see news and results come out of that?
I would hope in the coming weeks, sometime in probably October, I would hope to get IP results out, assay results. I don't know what the turnaround time is going to be yet this year, because these are the first assays we've submitted. But I would assume it's going to be better than the previous years. But the IP is going to be the real big ticket item, and then the ZTEM survey. And in addition to that, something else we're doing is we're working with Verify AI using the machine learning technology. And once we've incorporated all this year's data into that, we'll be putting out our model, which will guide more exploration next year, whether it be drill targeting or how to focus our pipeline for the zones.
Yeah, so I guess lots of mapping and sampling work. When you have a project that covers this large of a land package, walk us through your strategy there in terms of honing in on maybe higher priority targets. I imagine there's lots to choose from.
Yeah, so the nice thing about this project, there's already a lot of meat on the bone. At Hank, they drilled 20 meters of 12 grams. At Williams, they drilled 350 meters of 0.3 copper, 0.4 gold. So there's already evidence of the fertility. We're in the right rocks, the right part of the world, and there's local proof. So what we're looking for is either extensions of these systems or where more of them would be under a little bit of cover. So that's what the mapping was focused on, really alteration and structural geology mapping that will feed into our 3D model. We'll definitely complement that with the AI. But, we already had a pretty good idea of where we wanted to drill. We had planned drill holes.
Yeah, okay.
3D model going into the field program. And we went out and basically confirmed the data to support whether those check out or not.
Mm-hmm.
And things are, I'm just continuously impressed with this project. Last year, I didn't get a chance to visit every zone on the project. This year, I did. And it's a hell of an opportunity on this project, and really excited to sink our teeth into it with a large drill program, which is definitely our intention for next year. Okay,
excellent. Can you walk us through maybe the unique geology that you're seeing at the Highway 37 project? What makes it very appealing, as a exploration target?
Yeah, so I would really advise any listeners to look in our presentation, because we do have a lot of figures that kind of lay this out. And if you have any, if you're confused, reach out and I'll try to explain it in layman's term. But the big thing going on here is in the Golden Triangle, there's multiple different time periods when you get these porphyry, copper, gold, and epithermal deposits.
Yeah.
And what led us to this area was it was one of the largest areas perspective for the same intrusions that created the KSM project, the Bruce Jack project, Tudor Gold's project, Snip, a lot, the most, the largest metal content comes from this suite of intrusions. But then also on our LGM project, we have the same rocks that created the Galore suite, which is the Galore Creek deposit that Teck and Newmont are advancing. So there's really prospective geology. We're in the right structural setting. There's big geochemical anomalies, really impressive for the area. Alteration footprint is really impressive. I created a slide that I probably referenced in many videos now, because it took me about two straight weeks to create, and I got I think about 30,000 views on Twitter. But it's a slide that basically shows the outline of every porphyry copper gold deposit in BC.
Yeah.
And then the outline of our alteration. So we don't have resources yet, but it really shows the opportunity, shows that we've got a huge footprint, and that's really what you want to do. In exploration, the key is you get the ground. If you have got a small postage stamp, you can't fit a big deposit. So you get the ground. Hopefully it already has evidence of mineralization. Then you go in and focus on those areas, and you want to see signs of a big system, because where we're at, in the Golden Triangle, you need a big system to make it work.
Yeah.
Like a 200 million ounce porphyry isn't going to cut it if you're looking for 1 billion tons. And the scale of these systems really gives us that.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look forward to digging into that slide myself. I guess just to wrap up, what can investors expect from Kingfisher over the next 6 to 12 months, and why is now a good time to be paying attention to the story?
So as we refine, or as we interpret and refine our drill targets, so we'll be putting out our actual drill targets for next year, then we will have to do a raise to fund that. So I would say, look at that, because, once we are funded, I think there's going to be a lot of tailwinds on the stock, because we're going to be going into a drill season next year with really good targets in a very respective area, and we've got the ability to execute on it with the technical team we have. So I would say, keep an eye on us for an excellent discovery play.
Yeah.
But the other key is, we've assembled a large amount of ground, and I would like to assemble more if possible. And, the goal is to become the premier copper gold exploration story in the Golden Triangle, if not British Columbia. I would say that you want to be in the Golden Triangle. I hope you're going to be the premier story in BC, given the deposits that are sizably larger than elsewhere. So I would say that's going to be the excitement, is just seeing what we can refine from our work this year. The geophysics is going to be very illuminating.
Great. Well, sounds like you're poised for an exciting period ahead. Dustin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, James.